President Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order prioritizing federal funding for school choice programs, according to a White House document outlining the initiative. The order directs Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to develop a plan allowing military families to use Department of Defense funds for their children's education at a school of their choice. Additionally, the Department of Education will be instructed to prioritize school choice initiatives through discretionary grant programs. The order also tasks the Department of Health and Human Services with issuing guidance on how states receiving block grants for families and children can allocate those funds to support private and faith-based institutions. The Interior Secretary, once confirmed, will be required to submit a plan outlining how families with children attending Bureau of Indian Education schools can use federal funds to enroll their children in alternative schools. Currently, about 47,000 American Indian and Alaska Native students are enrolled in these federally run institutions. While the administration is pushing for increased school choice funding, it remains unclear how much can be achieved without congressional approval. Additionally, an Office of Management and Budget directive temporarily pausing federal assistance could affect some education grants. A federal judge has also issued a stay on the order, raising further legal questions. The White House move coincides with the upcoming 2024 National Assessment of Education Progress Report, which is expected to reveal alarming declines in student performance. 40% of fourth graders did not meet basic reading levels, the highest percentage ever recorded. Fourth and eighth grade reading scores continued to decline, each dropping 2 points since 2022. 70% of eighth graders were not proficient in reading, while 72% were not proficient in math. Every child deserves the best education available, regardless of their zip code, the White House document states. For generations, our government-assigned education system has failed millions of parents, students, and teachers. This executive order begins to rectify that wrong by opening up opportunities for students to attend the school that best fits their needs. President Trump has been a vocal proponent of school choice both on the campaign trail and during his first term. Advocates are also pushing for tax breaks to help families afford private tuition, though such measures would require congressional approval. Trump has nominated Linda McMahon, former wrestling executive and head of the Small Business Administration, to serve as Secretary of Education. Until her confirmation, Denise Carter is serving as acting secretary. Despite federal funding accounting for only 14% of total U.S. public school funding, with states and localities providing the majority, the administration's push for school choice is expected to spark debate over the future of education policy in America. Back in the Oval Office, President Donald Trump is once again taking aim at California's sanctuary policies, which were adopted during his first term to protect certain undocumented immigrants from deportation. His latest executive order, titled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, seeks to deny federal funds to sanctuary jurisdictions across the country. The order specifically targets California's sanctuary law, which limits how local law enforcement interacts with federal immigration authorities. While the exact federal funds to be withheld remain unclear, the move could have significant consequences for California, a state of 39 million people that relies heavily on federal dollars for public programs and wildfire recovery efforts. This isn't the first time Trump has attempted such a measure. During his first term, California sued the administration, and the courts ultimately sided with the state. California's sanctuary law, formerly known as the California Values Act, Senate Bill 54, was signed into law by then-Governor Jerry Brown in October 2017. The law restricts state and local police from investigating, interrogating, or arresting individuals for immigration enforcement purposes. It also limits, but does not entirely prohibit, cooperation between local law enforcement and federal immigration officials. Key provisions of the law. Local police cannot detain individuals beyond their release date solely for immigration enforcement purposes. Police can notify immigration authorities about an inmate's release if the individual has been convicted of a serious crime or felony like murder, rape, or kidnapping. The law does not prevent federal immigration authorities, such as ICE, from enforcing immigration laws in California. The sanctuary law primarily protects undocumented immigrants arrested for minor offenses such as traffic violations or driving without a license. However, it does not shield individuals convicted of serious crimes from deportation. Critics claims, President Trump and his allies have argued that sanctuary laws protect dangerous criminals, often citing specific crimes committed by undocumented immigrants. For example, in 2019, Trump referenced the killing of a police officer in Stanislaus County to criticize the law and demand increased border security funding. Reality check. The law explicitly allows police to cooperate with ICE in cases involving serious crimes. Between 2018 and 2023, California jails transferred over 4,000 individuals to immigration authorities. ICE has access to jail websites and fingerprint databases to identify individuals of interest. The Trump administration previously challenged the California Values Act in court, arguing that it interfered with federal immigration enforcement. However, in 2019, the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the law did not impede federal immigration authorities. The Supreme Court declined to review the case, leaving the law intact. In a separate legal battle, California successfully sued the Trump administration over its attempt to withhold federal law enforcement grants from sanctuary jurisdictions. A federal judge sided with the state. Critics of sanctuary policies often claim they harm public safety. For example, some have linked California's sanctuary law to the fentanyl epidemic, citing a rise in fentanyl-related deaths after the law took effect. However, research does not support these claims. Key findings. A 2020 study by researchers at the University of California, Irvine, found that the sanctuary law had no significant impact on violent or property crime rates. A separate study by Stanford and Princeton researchers examined sanctuary policies nationwide and found that while they reduced overall deportations by 1/3, they did not decrease deportations of individuals with violent criminal convictions. The study also concluded that sanctuary policies have little direct effect on crime. During the Biden administration, ICE operated under a sensitive areas policy, which discouraged immigration enforcement in places like schools, hospitals, churches, and courthouses. However, the Trump administration recently rescinded this policy, raising concerns about potential conflicts with California's sanctuary law. What this means? California's sanctuary law encourages officials in sensitive areas to adopt policies limiting cooperation with ICE, such as requiring warrants for arrests. With the federal policy reversal, local officials may face challenges if ICE attempts enforcement in these spaces. President Trump's executive order is part of a broader effort to crack down on immigration and push back against sanctuary policies. However, the effectiveness of the order remains uncertain, given past legal challenges and court rulings favoring California. As the debate continues, the clash between federal and state immigration policies highlights the ongoing tension over how to balance public safety, immigration enforcement, and the rights of undocumented immigrants. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe for more updates.